Am I the asshole for not taking my gay friend's feelings into consideration? For context, my friend group are the best people in my life and I love them to death. Anyways, onto the story. All of my friends are part of the LGBTQ+ community in some way, shape or form, and I love them so much. I happen to be straight, but I have never and will never judge someone for their sexuality or identity. The person who disturbed us sometimes made a joke that I should make out with the pastor's daughter from my church. I laughed it off and her that I wasn't interested. They didn't accept this answer and instead told me that I didn't have to like it, I just had to do it to assert dominance, whatever that means. Their tone was getting more serious and I was getting confused. I told her no because I'm not into girls. They didn't like this answer. The ex-middle school best friend chimed in too and asked me why I was so quick to shut down the suggestion. I reiterated and told her that I'm not into girls that way, and even if I was, I've known the pastor's daughter ever since I was very little and she was like an older sister figure. Both of them did not like this answer. The ex-best friend said that, I think it's funny how you're so quick to shut down the thought of kissing another girl. You're really staring to show internalized homophobia. This shocked me. I didn't understand how I was being homophobic, but I apologized for making her uncomfortable. She accepted the apology and we went on. Later, the whole group was having a discussion about our types in a Discord server just for fun. My friends were describing what they like in a girl they want to be with, and so I pitched in and said what I would want in a guy. We then gossiped about celebrities we thought were hot and I contributed male celebrities to the conversation even though my friends were all talking about girl celebrities. A few days later, those same two ex-friends confronted me about my homophobia again. When I questioned what they meant, they provided screenshots of the Discord chat complete with circling my messages in red in an attempt to prove how I was changing the subject, while they were trying to be gay in peace. I told them that we were having a conversation about what we were attracted to, so I contributed to the conversation, but they wouldn't have it. I felt really bad and apologized for making them uncomfortable, and they told me it was okay but to just be more careful next time. Well, turns out the rest of the group secretly hated those two and promptly kicked them out of the friend group shortly after. They both are very mad at me for not choosing their side. I really wasn't trying to be homophobic, and they really drilled it into my head that I need to be very, very careful about what I say about guys around my gay friends. I don't know. I just want people's opinion on this because I still think about it a lot and I want to change my ways if I truly am being insensitive. Am I the asshole? Edit. The two people who were kicked out of the group were the only ones who had a problem with this. Everyone else never said anything about it and said it was weird that the others took offense to it. They still laugh with me about this, but I feel guilty still sometimes. Edit 2. To clarify, we are all 17. Edit 3. Some more backstory. The girl who initiated this basically convinced my middle school friends that I was weird and annoying, so they all exiled me and I didn't have a single friend from 8th grade to sophomore year. I was absolutely miserable. Then after reconnecting with that girl, she introduced me to this group. She and the other person would frequently put all of us down for our interests, liking anime, being into other, weird, stuff, etc. And would compare trauma, well, insert something here, happened to me so you shouldn't be sad. I'm so happy that my friends decided to cut them off and we frequently laughed together about how awful they were. My new friends are honestly the best thing that's ever happened to me. This post has helped me gain closure that I can try to let go of the guilt from this situation. Thank you all. Not the asshole. Find some better friends. Nothing you said was homophobic, and what was said about the pastor's daughter is really fucking disgusting. The group you hung out with were a toxic cesspool and give the LGBT+ community a bad name. Edit. Wow, 700 upvotes. This is officially my highest comment. You just all sound really young. Anyone should be shut down for suggesting that you make out with someone to assert dominance, by the way. Not the asshole. Nothing you did was homophobic. Just as they should be accepted for their sexuality and preferences, you should be too. You were not inflammatory or dismissive. Not the asshole. Like 0% ta. Not wanting to fuck the pastor's daughter, who you have known from a very young age, makes you homophobic? I see. You need a better friend group. Don't let these idiots define you. If there is any sense in which you are the asshole, it is accepting even the smallest part of the premise of their ridiculous on its face, entitled, nonsense. For clarification, the others in the group had nothing to do with this, it was only the two people who were kicked out. The rest of the group told me that it was messed up, but sometimes I still feel guilty. IDK skeptical smiley face. Not the asshole. You weren't judging them in any way, just saying what you like. I find it really strange they would attack you like that because you know what you're attracted to when they likely have been attacked for the same several times. Stop bending for everyone, even if it's your friends. You're part of that group, you were part of the conversation, you did nothing wrong and you know it. So stop apologizing all the time to some psychos using their sexuality to guilt trip people for no reason at all. There's bad people everywhere, all genders, all races, all sexualities, sizes and shapes. Them being fat, a girl, black or gay doesn't give them a free pass to be jerks. Respect yourself more. Not the asshole OFC. I hope they stay ex-friends and you find some better ones. Not the asshole. And #X200B. It is not homophobic if you do not want to have sex with your own gender. It is homophobic to deny others that right. And #X200B. Accept the judgment of the group in this. They were the and they were kicked out. Am I the asshole for telling my husband to stop doing stuff for his mom? Edit. I have more issues than just the car thing when it comes to him and his mom. On his days off she expects him to take his younger brother, 23, who doesn't work or go to school. She expects him to take him out and buy him lunch and has even asked us to buy him clothes and shoes that he wants. Her and her husband both work. They make really good money. She works from 9 a.m. 3:30 p.m. and her husband 5 a.m. 3 p.m. She has made my husband go and buy her beers because she just doesn't want to. Their cable and internet is in our name and is paid out of our bank account every month because she simply didn't want to deal with the Comcast company. She bought me a gift one time, a size large dress, and it was a little too small because I'm bigger chested and I have junk in the truck, and she called me a fat cow and that I need to lose weight. My husband did shut that down real quick, but when he isn't around she has made comments like that to me. She expects us to do things for her and buy her lavish gifts simply because we both make good money. We are saving for a family and to build our own home. My other brother-in-law, 32, is single with no kids and he lives down the street from her, and she doesn't ask him to do anything for her, but when he bought her an LV bag she texted my husband and asked him why he didn't get it for her, and she needs a gift from us that's better than an LV bag. 23F and my husband 27M have been together for 6 years and married for going on 3 years. Yes, I was 17 about to be 18 and he was 21, but my parents were completely fine with it because I was already graduated from high school and had an associate's degree since I took college courses through high school. My husband is the middle of 3 boys and I'm the middle of 5 kids. I grew up incredibly poor, where a lot of the time I didn't know where my next meal was going to come from, and my husband grew up fairly well off. Always had brand new clothes, shoes, and always knew he was gonna have a meal. My husband has always been close with his mom. They would go out to lunch once a week and he would help her out by putting gas in her car and taking it to get maintenance. His mom is 52 and very active. She's not impaired, she can do things for herself. We live about 10 minutes away from his parents and his younger brother, 23, lives with them. But she never seems to ask him to do things for her, which no one should, but not the point lol. Every Friday she calls my husband to go and pick her car up to fill it up with gas and get it washed. He has never put gas in my car. Even when we go on trips I pump the gas, and he's also never washed my car for me. I get irritated because he does these things for her but he's never done it for me. I've asked and he said, "You have the ability to do it, so just do it, you're independent." Today was my last straw. We were out going to lunch and his mom texts him, and so he tells me to take him to his mom's house so he can pick up her car and take it to go get it maintenanced. I told him no because we already have lunch plans, and he got out of my car and walked to his mom's. We were only 2 minutes driving distance at a light going to lunch. He then has the audacity to ask me to pick him up from the shop. I told him that he can sit there and wait, that I will not participate in enabling his mom. He told me I was being dramatic and that, I don't get it, because I don't have a super close relationship. I don't because she couldn't handle the boundaries I set. I told my husband he needs to set boundaries with his mom, and if she wants someone to be an errand boy for her she can ask her husband or her other sons. I told him that I should be his priority and I shouldn't even have to talk to him about this because we talked about it multiple times before we got married. So am I the asshole for telling him to stop doing things for his mom? To be clear, I'm not telling him to never do anything for his mom, but for him to set healthy boundaries. Not the asshole. He tells you that you're independent. Tell him that his mom should be independent too. Not the asshole. You don't have a Mill problem, you have a husband problem. He clearly doesn't value the plans you've made if he's happy to ditch your plans at the last minute and refuses to set boundaries and make arrangements ahead of time instead of dropping everything to do what mom asks. You've landed yourself a mama's boy. He likely will continue this codependency because it feeds his ego. She likely encourages this codependency because she's using him as a surrogate husband. Take it from someone with experience, don't put up with this any longer. NTA. There's doing the occasional favor, then there's just this. Talk about not citing the apron strings. Not the asshole. Good for you for understanding that you need to set boundaries. The hard part is honoring them on your end. Stop this codependent relationship with your mom or I'll… What? That's for you to figure out. But trust me, he's not going to change. You're not the asshole. Not the asshole. If he's literally bailing on a date by jumping out of the car so he can run to satisfy his mother's command that instant, you have a major problem. And if she knows she's interrupting and doesn't care, she's a problem too. Not the asshole. You deserve the same amount attentiveness. And wife trumps mom. I could get doing things for his mom if she was like an old lady who couldn't do things for herself, but she's 52 and perfectly fit and capable. My mom is 52 and I think she'd be offended if I tried to do everything for her. To be fair, I'm a lot younger than your husband. Anyways, not the asshole. You are not the asshole. You have a much bigger husband problem than a Mill problem. I'd suggest you say that either you two seek counseling, or that you're considering a trial separation. This issue of him being at his mother's beck and call won't go away on its own, and until he sees how his actions are impacting his marriage, I don't think the light bulb will go off for him. Am I the asshole for asking my Mill to cool it with the requests for pregnancy updates? Update. Yesterday after our appointment, my Mill was blowing up both of our phones while we were at our respective jobs and asking for updates. Last night I had a conversation with my wife again and we mutually agreed to shut this down and be a united front where all of this will be periodically communicated to Mill and not real time. My wife spoke to her mom and told her wishes, now it's just a matter of enforcement. Mill called me yesterday to try and convince me that everything she's doing is out of concern. And while I understand that, I reminded her that what it is doing is causing stress, which is not good for the mom or the baby, or the husband for that matter. I also had a conversation with my wife about establishing boundaries with Mill because this is only going to get worse after the kid is actually here, if that's in the cards for us still. She agreed that she typically gives in to her mom because the alternative is Mill just keeps calling and needling until she gets her way. It's been a rough couple of weeks, but I actually think at least this portion of it should be under control moving forward. Thank you all for the help and support. My wife is pregnant with our first child, only at 5-6 weeks right now. She has had some early complications that resulted in an visit and frequent blood work, which unfortunately happened while I was out of town for work. The harm to my wife has passed, but we're now dealing with a potential early miscarriage or ectopic pregnancy, which we're running to ground with our doctors. My wife was adamant that her mom not find out until second trimester because she is the epitome of a helicopter parent that wants to remain involved and pester and generally make stressfully situations more stressful by needling. My wife told my Mill about the trip to the which led her to find out about the pregnancy and subsequent risks. My wife and I have asked her to let us provide updates in our own time and to not notify Mill of every doctor appointment and result because the risks we're talking about are baby, fertility and not the health and well-being of my wife. Unfortunately, Mill is being persistent and calling 6+ times a day for updates and lab results, etc. My wife is not one to pick fights with her mom, so ends up telling her stuff and then after the phone call having anxiety spirals because of the rabbit holes her mom sends her down, i.e. sending her articles about what removing fallopian tubes ectopic pregnancy means for future impregnation. I've already intervened once with a very nice message, reviewed and approved by wife before sending, that said, "We love you but let us bring you along at our pace because this is sensitive info." But Mill is still insistent that because it's her daughter she has a right to know everything. My wife says she's indifferent but recognizes that her mom sends her in an emotional spiral. But when it comes to the actual phone calls and texts she just sort of gives in because Mill is relentless in her questioning. This is my first time being the husband if a pregnancy, and a difficult one at that. But would I be the asshole for saying a kinder version of, "Your daughter's uterus has nothing to do with you, and only affects our current and future children, so please stop harassing us for updates while we process the news of each of these appointments?" FYI, we're in our 30s and have been together for over 10 years. Not the asshole. Jesus Christ. Just tell Mill she's stressing your wife out and she's putting her at higher risk of miscarriage. Maybe she'll shut up. Not the asshole. Suggest to your wife that you schedule check-in times with mother-in-law and ignore calls in between those times. Not the asshole, but you need to let your wife read it before sending. YWNB the asshole, but be careful how you present this. Look, Mill, I really appreciate how much you care about my wife, your daughter. But we are dealing with a lot right now, and while I appreciate how much you want to be informed on your daughter's condition, it is greatly adding to the amount of stress we have right now. We will call you once a week with an update, or more quickly if something big happens. If you don't hear from us, you can assume all is well. Best of luck with everything. Mill aside, this is a difficult time for you and your wife. Not the asshole. But, unless your wife is willing to go along, there is nothing you can really do about the situation with Mill. But, more importantly, how do you think this is going to play out once there is a baby? You either need to figure out something with your wife now, or you'll be dealing with Mil's interference in your life for the rest of your married life. Not the asshole. We had a similar situation with my mother earlier this year. We lost our first pregnancy around 8 weeks. I didn't tell my mom anything about the situation until we had confirmed the appointment for the D&C. And holy crap was she awful to deal with. She was sending multiple texts after I told her I didn't want to talk, asking if she could be at the hospital, and talking about how much she was grieving. My wonderful husband stepped in and made all contact with my mom go through him. We lost one of twins from this pregnancy last month, and he did the same thing with anyone I needed him to handle. Please protect your wife right now. Those weeks of not knowing were one of the worst times in my life, and the stress is going to still be there no matter which way your situation goes. Not the asshole. But also, not sure what you hope to accomplish. Short of saying something absolutely relationship breaking, I don't see her stopping her behavior, and even then she would probably just go put that stress on your wife. Really, if you want to help, talk to your wife about blocking her on her phone and having all future contacts with your Mill go through you. So any phone, text, email your Mill wants to make goes to you, and then you can be the go-between to filter out the stress for your wife. But even that will only work if your wife consents to it. Not the asshole. Send all calls from the Mill to voicemail, or have them auto-forward to your phone. The fact that the Mill texts or calls does not mean that they have to be read or responded to. You pay for your phone, so you can determine if you answer. Good luck with the pregnancy. If you do not set boundaries now, life will be a nightmare after the baby comes. Protect you family. Am I the asshole for attaching 2 minor conditions onto the money I agreed to lend my family? Update. I rescinded to lend the money this morning after more back and forth texting ensued. Today is my mom's birthday, and they've now declined to come to dinner with everyone tonight. I guess that means 2 less mouths to feed, which equates to more money kept in my pocket. I'm now being ignored by both. My aunt and uncle, early 60s, have always been horrible with managing their money. My mom and I have tried helping over the years. I don't know what she's given, but in total I have probably lent them around $3,000. Never paid back. When my grandma passed in 2016, each of her children got about $12,000. At my grandma's funeral, my aunt admitted that they were about 4 months behind on their mortgage, and the $12,000 she was getting from the estate was really going to help them. But I'm in real estate, and I know that once you've missed 3 payments, you're in the redemption period and have no chance to just catch up on your back payments. You're required to pay the balance of the loan and not just the missed payments. I told my aunt not to do it, but she sent the $12,000 to the mortgage company and the foreclosure still proceeded, as I tried to warn her. 2 weeks before they're fully evicted, they receive a letter in the mail and it says that my uncle has an unclaimed pension. They investigate and find out it's for $100,000. That amount of money in the hands of these people is equivalent to 100 pounds of heroin in the hands of a drug addict. They bought a mobile home for about $30,000 and 3 cars. Eventually, their money ran out. Not to worry though, because my grandpa died at the end of last year, and that was another nice chunk of money that was left to them, roughly $20,000. It's gone now. That's okay though, because my uncle's mom just died last month, and they are sniffing like bloodhounds to get a copy of that will and really banking on getting some money from her death, too. My aunt reached out to me yesterday via text. She had the audacity to ask me to borrow $1,000 along with a request that I don't tell my mom because my mom would be mad. I hate myself for this, but I agreed. I told her I wanted something signed saying she'll pay me back. Condition number 1. And I also asked to either pay the bills directly or be provided dated receipts of all the bills they paid with the money. Condition number 2. First, she asked why I would want that if she's going to sign a promissory note, and all I really said was, because it's my money and those are my conditions. I didn't hear back from her until this morning. She sent me a long text telling me how I talked down to her like dirt, how she's still my elder and I'm disrespectful, etc. I'm a mixture of both extremely hurt and extremely pissed. I don't want a rift in my family. I lost my dad to COVID last year and am dealing with some other issues and really don't want more problems in my life, but they don't have a good track record. So, am I the asshole for asking for a signed promissory note and for requesting to either pay their overdue bills directly or having them provide me receipts for the bills that are paid? According to her, if she's paying me back, it's not my business what the money is used for. Not the asshole. But honestly, don't give her the money. It won't end well and you know it. Not the asshole, but you are most likely never getting paid back. Or you could save $1,000 and just tell them __no _ now instead of later. It's your money, but it just seems pointless to have them sign or agree to anything if there is a near zero chance that they ever pay you back. Not the asshole. But, seriously, what use is the promissory note? They are bad with money, they won't ever pay you back, so either give them the $1,000 or don't. But nothing you do is going to get them the money back. Frankly, your aunt and uncle are leeches. No money you give them will ever be enough. So you need to decide when you're going to turn the faucet off. Not the asshole. Don't tell your mom, how dare you make me sign something? I'm an adult. Not the asshole. Stop giving them money. Even with conditions, you are simply enabling them. They've had 60 years to learn to manage their money. With all the money they have been lended and inherited, they could have paid for a financial advisor. If you are going to continue to enable them, maybe add a third stipulation that they take some sort of financial literacy course. Their money issues are only going to worsen as they retire, especially since they have already used one pension. If you continue to give them money, you will forever be their piggy bank and won't ever see a dime back from these people. And tell your mom. It's horrible to possibly strain your relationship with her because of them. She'll likely find out down the road anyway. You are the asshole but for giving those losers more of your hard-earned money. You are not responsible for them even if they are your family. Don't give them any money. Your note is worth nothing. Not the asshole, it's your money and do not give them a dime. Flat out tell her the truth. Be completely honest. I've decided not give you any money any under circumstances. This will remain for the future. You still haven't paid my mom back $3,000 and in the past 5 years you've gotten $132,000. That's $135,000 you've blown through. Please go to some classes to learn how to be financially responsible. If any other family member gives you grief, tell them to loan them the money but you refuse to be involved in any monetary situations. Not the asshole. But don't lend them more money. You're just allowing them to continue by being their enabler.